Mic test. Good morning, respected teachers and fellow participants. We are a team from Foon High School, Kulai, Malaysia. And today, we are very honored to present our project entitled From Waste to Growth, Improving School Food Waste Management Through Composting. So before we begin, I want everyone to think about a simple question. Can the food we throw away today become the food we eat tomorrow? At first, this question might be very direct, because once food is being thrown away, it's simply just waste. But what if I tell you that the food can become a valuable resource instead? Please allow me to run through the status quo. As you can see on the screen, our country, Malaysia, generates approximately 8.3 million metric tons of food waste each year. And a large proportion of this waste is organic matter that could be reused. However, a lot of it is sent to landfills, where it decomposes and releases greenhouse gases such as methane and carbon dioxide. This increases landfill pressure, contributes to climate change, and disrupts the natural cycle. So, why does this matter? Is sending food waste to landfills our only option? The answer is no. As you can see on the screen, food waste can actually follow two pathways. If it is discarded, it ends up in landfills and contributes to environmental problems. However, if it is composted, it is turned into a nutrient-rich compost that returns to the soil, supports plant growth, and eventually becomes food again. Instead of creating waste, compost closes the resource loop by returning nutrients back to nature. And this is exactly the idea behind a zero-waste society. That is to keep valuable resources in circulation through the principles of reduce, reuse, and recycle. This led us to our research aim, that is to evaluate the effectiveness of the compost produced by our school, and also to propose practical strategies to optimize the system and improve resource utilization, while trying to verify whether the school's food waste management system aligns with the principles of a zero-waste society. Overall, this project primarily supports SDGs 12, which is responsible consumption and production, while also contributing to SDG 6, SDG 11, SDG 13, and SDG 15. With that, I'll pass it to my teammate Zhitong to talk about the exploration process.
Thank you, and now let me take you through our idea generation and selection process. Like many schools and communities, our school actually faces a great problem, which is managing a large amount of food waste daily. I'd like to ask everyone a simple question. What do you think happens to the food waste in our school canteen every single day? Like most people would probably answer, it is simply being dumped away. But interestingly, our school actually has a food waste recycling system. As illustrated in this flow chart, food waste collected from the school canteen is processed by a food waste machine, which is partly powered by solar energy. It is then produced into an organic compost and used for campus planting and ultimately contributes to food production. At first glance, this appears to be a complete circular system. However, during our observation, we discovered that the cycle was not functioning as effectively as we expected. The compost produced by a large amount of food waste is rarely used around the campus. And we questioned whether is this system a functional and integrated system, completing the resource loop. Hence, we started to explore. Here's some fun fact about the food waste machine. By interviewing the person in charge of the machine, we learned that it operates at around 90 degrees Celsius for 4 to 6 hours to make it into a compost. Microorganisms and wood chips are also added into it to accelerate decomposition and also convert the waste into compost. However, we also found out that the fertilizers may attract ants and other insects to it. Thank you. And now I'll continue with our exploration method. So we also investigated how different types of food waste, such as vegetable scraps, leftover rice, and oily waste affect the composting process. We then examined the compost characteristics by observing the texture, color, moisture, and smell, and explored whether pretreatment could help on its decomposition efficiency. And finally, we explored the potential of making liquid fertilizer, but it was unsuccessful. So here is the question that inspired our project. If our school is already producing its own compost, why aren't we using it more widely? So to answer this question objectively, we designed 2 experiments. These experiments allows us to evaluate the safety and effectiveness of a compost, and the results will show whether it can become a reliable fertilizer for sustainable campus planting. So now let's move on to our experiments.
Yes, next, to find out whether our school food waste can truly be reused, we carry out 2 experiments. Okay, so before we look at the result, here's a simple concept. A raw food waste applied into the soil, the microbes will break it down and it will release heat. And when the too much heat reach the root, it will cause root burning. So before we apply the compost into the soil, we need to let the heat release first. So we come through our first experiment. We first mix the water and the compost, and we seal it in the plastic bag, and we let the heat release safely before the soil contact. So this is our result. The red line shows the ideal composting curve where the temperature rises first before gradually cool down. However, our compost follows the green line. Although it follows not follow the ideal curve, it doesn't mean that our compost cannot be used. Next. Instead, it tells us that our compost generates very little heat, so the risk of the root burning is very, very low, so making it is safe for direct application. Yes, so after confirming that our compost was safe, we move on to our second experiment. We use our school compost to grow bok choy and observe its growth. And you can scan, next page, okay, so you can scan this QR code to watch our bok choy grow. Okay, as you can see, this picture shows that our compost can let the bok choy grow normally, so showing that the compost is suitable for vegetable planting. So this experiment means that food waste doesn't have to end up as a rubbish. Instead, it can be turned into a compost used to grow vegetable and returns to the food system. Okay, so after 2 experiments, we found that our school system have 2 areas have to improve. The first improvement focuses on the nature of kitchen waste. We found that our school rarely uses self-produced compost or only apply it in limited area in our school. The one possible reason is the compost will attract ants or other insects. It is likely caused by a high sodium or sugar in the kitchen waste. So to solve this issue, the kitchen waste can be pre-processed. In addition, the materials such as cow manure, soybean meal, and rice bran, and also can add it into the compost to help neutralize the excess nutrients. The second improvement focuses on the fertilizing system. Both composting and fertilizing process must be standardized. At the same time, standardize the frequency, dosage, and the application method will improve the consistency and maximize the benefit of the compost. Now, my teammate will take over to explain the next part.
Okay, now let's move on to the challenges we face and also the solutions we implemented to address them. One of the main challenges was the limited observation period. Since our reporting window was only about 4 weeks, we were unable to fully observe long-term bok choy growth and complete plant maturity. So to work around this, we focused on short-term indicators such as above-ground appearance and root development. Another challenge we faced was human-controlled variability and multiple growth factors. Compost application in our school was not standardized, making it hard for us to accurately evaluate the actual effectiveness of the compost. So, to make the comparison fairer, we controlled the experiment by using the same plant species, which was bok choy, similar plant sizes, soil from the same source, and kept the light, water, location conditions consistent. As shown in the picture on the right, we also conducted a comparison between 2 groups, one that received compost and another one that did not. And this solution was an ideal solution that we wanted to implement, but failed because of time constraints. And next, I'll pass it to my teammate, Vanessa, to talk about the reflections in this research.
Thanks, Xuanting. So now let's move on to the reflection on food waste study. This study focused on sustainability for food waste management by exploring the food waste system, compost production, and plant growth while promoting a zero waste society. Our goal was to evaluate the effectiveness of compost, understand sustainability in a school environment, and also show that food waste can be turned into plant nutrients. However, along the way, our study had limitations. We mainly used observation and interviews with limited quantitative data, and we also did not conduct soil testing such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium analysis. And also, our experiment is short-term, with limited control of variables and inconsistent monitoring of plant growth and soil quality. In the future, we can improve by testing different food waste, conducting proper soil analysis, using more plant types, collecting quantitative data, and expanding the composting system across the campus. Through this study, we gain a deeper understanding of sustainability and strengthen our research and problem-solving skills. We hope this project contributes to a zero waste society and a more sustainable school environment. Thanks for listening.
Terima kasih.
Thank you so much. So the next team is Shinjo Higashi High School from Japan. The topic is exploring the potential of Obanazawa watermelons in reducing food loss. Let's welcome them.
Hello everyone. Have you ever heard of Obanazawa watermelon? Obanazawa watermelon is a summer watermelon produced in Obanazawa City, Yamagata Prefecture. It was grown in a climate with a large temperature difference between day and night, which gives it a high sugar content and a crisp texture. In addition, Obanazawa City is the largest producer of summer watermelons in Japan. And Obanazawa watermelon is known as a premium watermelon throughout the country. Last August, with the goal of contributing to the local community, we worked part-time at watermelon farms in Obanazawa City, while helping with the largest with harvesting and shipping work in the fields. We discovered watermelons that were left behind instead of being shipped, even though there were no problems with their taste or safety. Many watermelons were not sent to the Japan Agriculture Cooperatives or JA because they did not meet the standards for size or appearance. To better understand this situation, we decided to conduct further research.
To understand the current amount of watermelon loss, we interviewed staff members from the JA in Obanazawa City. Through these interviews, we learned that each farmer produced approximately 600 kilograms of non-standard watermelons every year among the watermelons shipped to the JA. To investigate the reality of this issue more deeply, we received support from a member of the Obanazawa City Council and interviewed farmers who have been growing watermelons for many years. As a result, we found that the amount of watermelon judged as unsuitable for shipment can reach approximately 10 to 30% of the total harvest, depending on the farmer. We also discovered another issue: serious labor shortage caused by Japan's aging population and declining birth rate. In addition, farmers had different opinions about food loss involving Obanazawa watermelon. Some farmers said, "We want to take action to reduce food loss." On the other hand, some farmers were concerned that selling non-standard watermelons cheaply could damage the brand value of Obanazawa watermelon. When we listened more carefully, we learned that unsold watermelons are often left in the fields and returned to the soil as fertilizer, so they do not cause major environmental problems. We also learned that some farmers sell non-standard watermelons independently, and according to the JA,
analysis based on the practical testing that I observed. First is the technical limitations. Currently, my solutions relies heavily on cloud AI, which cause high latencies up to a second in environment recognitions, which impact can interactions. Second is the performance of solutions is hindered by environmental variables, by ambient noise levels and lighting conditions in public space. So my next step is to deploy HAI into hardware to eliminate the latencies and optimizing processor selections and PCB designs to reduce overall production costs. Next, I will expand my testing to more complex environment to make a more comprehensive. Last is the consistency. The real-time processing is more valuable than complex features. So this led to the goal by making a commercial-ready versions targeting under 1 second in response times for social integrations. Not only in communication, my system can help users to integrate into school and workplaces. In future, I will collect more data to optimize my system, become more comprehensive and more affordable for a wider range of adoptions. Thank you for your attention and listening. Here's QR code linking to supplementary materials, including implementations process, experimental data, and system visuals. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. So the next team is affiliated senior high schools of National Zhongxin University from ROC, and the topic is old clothes, reduce, reuse, recycle. Let's welcome them.
Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about old clothes, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Please take a look at this photo. As we follow fashion trends and enjoy the convenience and low prices of fast fashion, have we ever think about the cost behind our planets? According to statistics, more than 100 billion pieces of clothing are produced around the world every year, but about 85% of them ends up in incinerators or landfills. Can you guess how much water is needed to create a simple t-shirt? According to United Nations Environment Program, producing just one t-shirt requires about 2,700 liters of water. This is the same amount of drinking water one person needs for 3 years. After learning these facts, we began to ask ourselves, if so many resources is needed to create just one piece of clothing, shouldn't we try to give it a longer life? Our presentation will be divided into 4 main parts. Throughout our projects, we closely align our work with 4 SDGs, goals 11, 12, 13, and 17. Before we move on our main topic, I'd like to share a personal experience. I have more than 10,000 photos on my phone, but I probably look at 50 of them more than once. Among all these photos, some are like, oh my God, what a pretty girl today. So I take 10 shots of same pose from same angle. Others are pictures of food, where I spend long time taking a photo that looks really delicious. But in the end, I don't even remember where I ate it. Even so, I still don't delete those photos because I always think, maybe I'll need them someday. Later, I realized that my closet is actually just like my phone. But over time, the things we keep become more and more, while the things we actually use become less and less.
So, after the realization, I remember a childhood memory that a foundation coming to our school to collect those old clothes. And when I share this story with our team members, we all have a huge realization. Our closets were bursting with old clothes. Even though there are recycling bins near our homes, we used to ignore them and never did anything. To see if our classmates share the same habit, so we designed a survey. Most people buy new clothes once a month. That means you are adding at least 12 new pieces to your closet every year. Meanwhile, nearly half of our respondents just simply put their old clothes at home. So our conclusion is clear. We are buying more, but leaving even more to go to waste. So based on our conclusion, we decided to take action, starting from ourselves. We initially contacted many online and physical stores to interview, but most of them rejected us. We didn't give up. Instead, we expand our search for more sustainable brand, and we finally reached the Uniqlo team at Lollaport. We learned that they source the clothes. The wearable one they will donate it to those in need, while the unwearable one they will transform into fuel rods for energy. In addition, we analyzed other recycling models such as Seconds G, H&M, and the local band 23. So to raise the awareness of the problem of clothing waste, we organized a second-hand clothing upcycling activity. We prepared a presentation about fast fashion, and with our survey results, brand analysis to our classmates. Our activity is to transform old clothes into reusable shopping bags, and our participants can gain a better understanding of the problem caused by fast fashion and the value of giving old clothes a new life. We also encounter challenges such as difference in spray materials that affected the final product. So we also encourage teamwork and further improve in the future.
After completing our classroom activity, we expand our efforts by organizing a second-hand clothing exchange on campus. The event features items donated by both teachers and students, and all of which were for free. Participants were welcome to pick up and keep whatever they like. During the preparation stage, we were uncertain whether will we collect enough clothes, will people accept second-hand items, or will the event simply be ignored. Therefore, we decided VIP stickers, hoping to collect more clothes. Early donors receive VIP stickers that allow them to browse the clothes before the general opening. And we also decided digital graphic to be broadcast during every recess. Moreover, we do posters and classroom presentations while introducing our project to teachers and students across the campus. And these are our research posters. We decided and produced information about our research process and the fast fashion we had previously compiled, hoping to promote the concept of reducing waste and reusing in parallel, and to raise awareness among more people to do this activity. After about 4 months preparation, the event was a huge success, even better than we expected. Nearly half of almost 500 donated garments find new owners. Seeing participants happily find the clothes they like made all of our hard work worthwhile. At that moment, it felt like everything is gone perfectly. However, the real challenge was just beginning. What should we do with the leftover clothes? We visited many different organizations and found that many of them could not accept all of the clothes due to regulations.
and the clothes that don't meet the standard are simply incinerated. That's when we realized the clothing recycling is far more complicated than it seems, and Taiwan still has a long way to go in clothing recycling. In the end, most of the clothes were successfully purchased, and we donated the money from the clothing sale to the green organizations, hoping to support more environmental and sustainability issues. After the event was over, our actions continued. We shared a short documentary on social media to raise awareness of clothing waste caused by fast fashion and extending our impact beyond the campus. Through continual explorations and hands-on action, first we interrogated Taiwan clothing recycling systems by conducting the interviews and analyzing fashion bands. Then we share what we learned through upcycling workshop with our classmates, followed by a second-hand clothing exchange brought the issues across the campus. Finally, we donate the money from the clothing sale to green organizations and share a short documentary on social media, extending our impact beyond the campus. This journey shows us that students can also create a meaningful change.
Looking back the past year, we started from our campus, using it as a starting point for sustainable action. At the same time, by promoting awareness of fast fashion, we influence people's mindsets to rethink what responsible consumption really means. In terms of action, we did not stop at discussion. We took real steps by turning old clothes into bags and organizing over 500 pieces of clothing, giving them a second life. In addition, we worked with business, building connection across different fields and expanding our impacts beyond the school. And through these projects, we promoted clothing recycling by transforming old clothes and holding a clothing exchange. More importantly, we hope to raise awareness, encourage people to think before they buy, and take responsibilities for their choices. And let us look at the first letters of these efforts. PROTECT is the word protect. Through these actions, we hope to help improve and protect our world together. What we ultimately prove is something simple. As long as someone is willing to take the first step, even the smallest shifts can give new life to values that were once forgotten. Sustainable is not a distant goal, but a choices we wear every day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for impressive performance. So the next team is National Pingtung Senior High School from ROC. The topic is Waste to Wonder, turning used hand warmers into water purifiers. Let's welcome them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are students from Pingtung Senior High School. My name is Zhang Junwei, and they are my partners Xu Yongxun and Su Yirui. Our project is Waste to Wonder, turning used hand warmer into water purifier. Industrial progress has led to a serious disposable culture, and hand warmer is a prime example. They have become winter essential, but it just lasts for a few hours. The waste only one winter is shocking. Due to their complex materials composition, they cannot be recycled. Right now, they are treated as general waste and incinerated. According to the media's report, the discarded hand warmer each year can stack up to 17,000 Taipei 101's building. In addition, fast fashion is a common feature of modern life, but it results in the serious pollution from synthetic dyed wastewater. Recent year, dyed waste pollution has remained a consistent issue in Taiwan, with notable cases occurring in regions like Zhanghua. These incidents caused the severe ecological damage. It also led to the direct collapse of local aquatic ecosystem.
Let's look at the literature review. Previous studies shows that iron powder inside used hand warmers can be used to remove some specific chemical substances and prevent water problems. Obviously, used hand warmers demonstrate excellent potential to solve the wastewater pollution problem, such as dye pollutants from the textile industry. In addition, we found two key components within the used hand warmers that serve distinct purposes. First, the activated carbon's highly porous structure make it ideal for the absorption of the dye substances. Second, the iron ions can trigger Fenton-like reaction. By combined with the hydrogen peroxide, they can generate reactive radicals that can break down the dye pollutants. So, our core concept is to use waste to treat waste so as to solve the wastewater polluted problem caused by fast fashion. To achieve this, our project plan is twofold. First, we explore how used hand warmers powder absorb the methylene blue. Second, we design a semi-automatic wastewater treatment system to test the feasibility in a real-world flowing environment. So let's look at our experiment design. To simulate a polluted environment, we use a 50 part per million methylene blue solutions. And the first step is absorptions, where activated carbons captures the methylene blue. Following this is distortions. When added hydrochloric acid into the solutions, the pH value is breaked and successfully releasing the methylene blue back into the solution. After that, we initiate the Fenton-like reactions. The iron powder inside the solutions can release iron ions that act as a catalyst. When added hydrogen peroxide under acid conditions, this reaction is triggered. As shown in the chemical equations, they can create highly reactive radicals that can break down the structure of the methylene blue, successfully releasing clean particles at the end of the process. So let's look at the remaining part of the experiment design. First, we test the feasibility of using used hand warmers for the absorptions and degradation for the methylene blue. Second, we test different variables such as the pH values or the hydrogen peroxide concentrations. Third, we analyze the solutions after the experiments. By using these optimal conditions to our semi-automatic systems, we hope to create a one-stop process of degradation, of absorptions, distortions, and degradation. Okay, let's move to the next part.
Let's start with our first experiment. Before moving on, we first want to see whether the Fenton-like reaction could really effectively degrade the methylene blue under our experimental conditions. After we added a hydrogen peroxide into the solution, we could observe a clear decrease in the concentration of methylene blue. Next, in experiment 2, we investigate how pH affect the adsorption and degradation efficiency. We test 4 groups, including pH 2, 3, 4, and 5. Among these groups, we can see that pH 2 and pH 3 show the best performance, so we choose these 2 groups for the following experiments. Next, in experiment 3, we tested different volumes of hydrogen peroxide both under pH 2 and pH 3. However, we didn't observe any clear trend between these 2 groups. But interestingly, after the Fenton-like reaction, we can observe that pH 2, 4, and 5 groups, they showed a little bit cloudy, which was likely due to the sludge formation. In contrast, pH 3 remained much clearer, so we choose pH 3 for our following design. Based on these findings, we developed a semi-automated treatment system shown here. The first step is adsorption. First, the methylene blue will be pumped out through tube A and returned through tube B. After this step was completed, we will turn the tube B into the right beaker, which contains hydrochloric acid and hydrogen peroxide. Then we'll pump the solution out through tube B and then return it through tube C. After the entire process, we can break down the methylene blue through the Fenton-like reaction. As we can see from the result, our system completed the entire treatment successfully. In conclusion, pH 3 is the best condition, and more importantly, our study shows that we can turn used hand warmer particles into a reusable and effective materials.
And how do we connect to SDGs? We give hand warmer a second life to reduce waste. This way, we can avoid creating more trash and help company manage waste better. Additionally, by using them to purify water, we can reuse the wastewater and make it safer. Also, we can stop dying factory from pouring polluted water into nature. However, when we use commercial hand warmer for oxidation, we need to deal with a lot of variable. Unexpected element can easily mess up with our results. Figuring out how to precisely control the hand warmer oxidation level is critical part of our next experimental design. Looking ahead, there are a few ways to take our project further. First, we want to tweak the device design to get more stable water flow. Second, we want to test different type of dye to see how versatile it really is. Ultimately, we want to reuse the iron precipitate and build the continuous system. This is our citation and reference. Thanks for listening.
Okay, thank you so much. So the next team is Conto University Elite High School from Vietnam. The topic is design and evaluation, piloting +3 system as a digital intervention to modify single-use plastic behavior among high school students, along with the Sustainable Development Goals.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, organizers, and fellow participants. My name is Huân Như. This is my teammate.
My name is Nguyễn Đức Kiên.
My name is Tắc Trương Thành Hy.
My name is Nguyễn Lê Lâm Khiên.
My name is Tạ Ngọc Quỳnh Anh.
On behalf of our team, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to National Thailand First Senior High School and also the organizing committee for hosting and putting together this meaningful international conference. Thank you very much. Now, today, I'm incredibly honored to represent my team to introduce our project, Design and Evaluate the +3 System in accordance with the Sustainable Development Goals. To give you an overview, Our presentation is structured into 5 key sections, starting with the research background, following next with the methods, challenges, and solution. Next is the learning outcome, and finally is our reflection. Let's dive into the first part, the research background. Currently, school plastic waste remain largely unmanaged, and many traditional campaigns have struggled to create the lasting habit changes. In fact, we have observed a significant gap. While students are aware of this issue, their actions remain inconsistent because there are no systematic monitoring or reinforcement. To address this, our project designed the plastic digital system to track the entire life cycle of plastic use and provide real-time feedback. By doing so, we aim to bridge the gap between single awareness and meaningful sustainable actions.
At the survey stage, we design a mixed method questionnaire consisting of 5 sections that included both quantitative and qualitative items. Here we can see demographics, awareness of sustainable development goals, plastic waste awareness, plastic usage habits, and attitudes toward the plastic system. The survey was distributed to students in grade 10 and 11 at Kulai University Elite High School to identify students' level of awareness prior to the experimental stage. Next is Spark.
Next is the design of methods. We also have 3 touchpoints. The touchpoint 1 is the generation tracking. In this checkpoint, we also use the monitor and we measure the weight of the generated plastic by students in grade 10 and grade 11 in our school. In touchpoint 2, recovery validation. In this one, we also use and evaluate the effectiveness of the sorting and measuring the waste of generated. In touchpoint 3, awareness, touchpoint, and nudge, we also use a reminder campaigns for them, and if they don't put the trash in the rubbish, we will attach them in the Excel.
Next, I'm going to talk about the challenges that we have been facing and the solutions of how we use them to encounter them. Here, one of the main challenges was the financial pressures. Implementing the systems required initial investments for equipments, installations, and maintenance. In addition, there were some operational flaws, such as difficulties in management, consisting participation users. So to overcome these challenges, we focus on reducing initial cost by using simple and affordable solutions, while keeping the operating expenses low. Also, we keep on improving the awareness and usability by creating some environmental activities as well as a user-friendly system designs. With these improvements, we can increase the participations and also to make the project even more sustainable and effective in the long terms.
Next, let's go into the learning outcomes. First one, outcome survey. The overall knowledge of the SDGs remains limited. Nearly half of the students, 46%, reported knowing only 1 to 5 roles, and while only approximately 20% were familiar with all 17 roles, this presents an opportunity for the study to integrate SDG education into practical activities, thereby deepening awareness and fostering tangible action. Next, let's move on to the plastic waste awareness. The chart below shows that 94% of students have the awareness of the recycling and reuse single-use plastic bottles, while only 6% rate is as none. Next, we examine student daily behaviors regarding plastic waste and found a clear gap between awareness and action. 40 single-use plastic bottles remains a part of student daily routines. In fact, 67% of students use 1 to 3 or more plastic bottles every day. And this indicates the urgent need for a study that establishes practical motivation and monitoring mechanisms to reduce waste use and dispose of waste properly. Thank you.
Next, let's look at how students feel about the plastic-free projects. Here we can see this chart shows that approximately 81.5% of students rated the system as feasible or highly feasible, while only about 9% view it as not feasible. To conclude, the survey results show that the awareness and actions of students on sustainable development and plastic waste are still low, and this suggests the potential of plastic-free to promote positive changes in student behavior as well as awareness.
I will talk about the experimental method. This is in Touchbone 1, generation tracking. All students in our school have this name ID card. It can also use all facility in Calcutta University. So when we buy one thing, we put it one time. And if we bought two things, we tap it in two times so the system can recognize it all. And after that, when we put it in the rubbish, like this one, is it empty? So we need to tap it again. If you bought two times, you need to tap it two times again. So you don't need to be attention. Like this one, she tap again and she put the rubbish in. In Touchbone 3, it's an awareness point and nudge. And that is all in the plastic system operation process. And here's the data analyst of this one. In day 1, you also have 62 students. And in day 3, there's more than 98 students. It's much higher than who's shown in our project. But the rubber disposals is much more higher than from 40 to 92. And the improper disposal is lower than. So we conclusion that after 3 days, the improper disposal drops sharply, showing and easily conclude that plastic is effective in improving students.
Moving up to the reflections. Now, let's have a look at the 3 core value things we're sharing from our project. First, the applications of scientific theory. Instead of just giving advice, we combine the COM-B model and the nudge theory to subtly create choice environments that make sustainable action easier for students. Second, the connection to global goals. Class 3 creates the particle learning environments that actively contributes to SDG 12 and SDG 4. Finally, is our humanistic approach to education. Every digital reminder is designed to be gentle and non-descriptive, fully respect the high school student psychology.
Next one is the area for improvement. We also resolving for the for our system, make it more smoothly done from the data analyst, and then enhancing system assessment. We also make our system to be more smoothly, and it's also adapted on the student and the student daily routine and the scalable adaptation. We want to talk that we want to make the system as flexible to all schools in Vietnam or in the international.
In the future, the projects can be further improved by integrating AI-powered data management and monitoring systems. These technologies will help schools track plastic waste more accurately to help students to understand the value of protecting the environment and as well as to evaluate the effectiveness of environmental activities. Also, moreover, the project shows that Plus3 model has a strong potential to be applied on the larger scales. It can serve as a reference model combining with the data transformations, sustainability educations, and environmental behavior management. So with these, schools can not only address current environmental challenges, but also can make further research and wider implementations.
At all, we want to express our deepest gratitude to our principal, Ms. Huỳnh Thị Thúy Diễm, and our instructor, Mr. Lam Minh Huy, for their support and helping us a lot to Kangtao University for providing us resources and environment, to all the participating students for their valuable contributions, and finally to all the organizers of the 20 and 26 High School Student Conference on SDG. Thank you very much.
感谢黄老师和雷老师的指导，感谢大家的支持，谢谢大家。
All right, so thank you all for the presentations. We believe that you are now eager to get some constructive feedback to improve your research, right? So now please join me in welcoming today's commentator, Dr. Du Yichun from Chengkou University, who give us some words. Let's welcome him.
Today is a tough day, right? Yeah, okay. Now I can say anything that I want to say. Because the afternoon session, the two sessions, I need to score off your points, yeah, together. So in the last time, I cannot mention too much. Okay, let's two things I think is worth to say to me. First thing is I am very impressed of all of you. You really practice and hand-on in all your smart solutions in your community. And that really make the social impact. I am very impressed. Okay, that's the first thing. And I think this is, make your phrase, impulse, and how to clear the river, keep the river clear, and I think the sustainable some issues. Okay, you just do your smarter solutions. Want to keep the environment clear, and want to using your methods to overcome and keep going to you want to keep the issue. And the second thing I think the very important to me is the passion. Okay, you can see some presenter even their result maybe it's not only the data is good, but also their passion could be move me into his or her story, right? That's also encourage me to want to learn or want to know for the more detail about his or her story. I think in the AI era, all of you are the next generation in the AI era, right? So broadcast yourself, I think this is a very important issue. Do you agree that? Yeah, you just broadcast yourself. Not only, this is not a problem of the language. That's just a communication tool. You just get to show your passion, show your knowledge, and show your driving force, why you want to do this project, and which something encourage you or to move you want to keep on in this project. That will be also move me in your story. Okay, and finally, I want to mention about the today all of the research topic or all of the project is very impressed and inspire me. And but I believe over the project and your result or your outcome or your deliver, not only your effort, right? But also from your teacher, your supporter, your consultant, your mentor, your associated professor, right? So do me a favor. Please raise your hand, give yourself and your professor and your teachers a big hand. So today, to me, all of you are winners. of you are winner. But that's only point of view of me. Yeah. But actually, in the each, as I mentioned before, I also have many, maybe not the question, maybe just the suggestion to each of your project, but the rule of the incentive competition, I cannot ask you question directly. So if you want to know which I think if you want to know my suggestion in your team, you can just we can just discuss it in the private. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So thank you for the comment from Dr. Du Yichens. Next one, I'm going to announce something. It's time for another tea break. Desserts and the beverage are ready outside the venue. Please remember that no food or drink is allowed inside the venue. So the conference will resume at 5:10. So please sit it back then. So now you can go outside, take a break, enjoy the refreshments, and take photos with your friends or ask IGs from beautiful girls you like.